welcome to episode 98 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin, and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. It has been just about a week since I recorded last, so this episode will probably be a little bit shorter. I'm trying to squeeze in a few more before baby comes, so there's this one, and then I'm hoping for one more. So I hope you had a good week. I know we're all adjusting to a new normal, so I hope that is going well for you. We are still doing okay staying home. We found out recently that the school closures here are going to be extended until early May, so Avery's going to be home with us for a few more weeks, and they are moving to phase 2 of homeschooling, where they actually have some interactive programs going on. So Avery's going to have to go on the computer, and her teacher is going to be assigning work. And I'm going to have to make sure that she does it, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge once baby comes, but we will have to figure that out. Other than that, like I said, we're staying home. I've been keeping track of the cases in our region. Luckily, we are in an area where they are still relatively low, so I don't feel too bad about, I've been going out about once a week, and I've been feeling okay with that. I go out, get some groceries, get some milk, stuff like that. But otherwise, we are just laying low, staying home. So again, I hope you all are well and adjusting. We have been joined by a Mr. T. He has been following me around for the last hour, and I know it's because he wants his dinner, but it is nowhere near his dinner time. And of course, he's just about to settle down on one of the projects that I'm going to show you. So we'll see. I might have to move him when we get there, but I can work around him for now. So let's get started with the knitting. What do I have for you today? I have 2 finished objects. I have a new cast on. I have a project that I have pulled out from the vault to work on, and then I actually have a little bit of spinning that I've started. So let's get started with the finished objects that I have, and I'm going to start with my Desert Vista Dye Works socks. So I was working on my March pair last episode, and I think I was working on the heel or something like that of the second sock, but I finished the pair for the month. I was pretty confident that I would, and honestly it wasn't too much of a struggle. I was really hoping to finish them the day before the last day, just so I didn't have to worry about it. But that day, the 30th, I think I worked on them for a little bit in the morning, and then I just was zonked out for the rest of the day. There's been some days lately where around 1 in the afternoon, I just get so tired that I can't do anything, and I have to just kind of close my eyes and just kind of zone out for an hour or two. And that's what happened. So I didn't get to pick them up again until the evening when I prepped up a little bit, and then I finished them off the next day. But it was sometime in the afternoon that I finished them. So there was no worries about getting these done, getting the pictures taken, posting them in the group. So these are the finished socks, and the colorway is the Sea Zombie. I'm making these for Avery's teacher, fingers crossed. They will still have a little bit of time where they get to go back to school, and she will be able to give them to her. But if not, we have the same size feet, and so I will just keep them and enjoy them myself. So you can see the colors there. I did my usual 81 stitch cast on, and then I reduced stitches as I went down. You can see there's a little bit of a bump there. I think what I'm going to do is take one of them off and just show you where that decrease started. So when you're looking at it this way, this is the way it was knit down. You can see that there's just a little bit of an indent there. I like when my foot is a little snugger than the leg, and I've made the teacher's other pairs similar to the way I make my pairs, and she seems to like them, so I decided to go with it. The last time I did this, I did decreases across the row, and you could kind of see little stitch blips. So this time I decided to do them on the edge, and that's why you see that little indent there. And I think when you're wearing them, it's less noticeable. So that's what it looks like there. So I start with 81, I decrease 1 after the ribbing to get to 80. Right before I start the heel shaping, I take away, I think I did about 4 stitches or so on each side to get to about 72 stitches. I did the triangular shaped heel with the reverse stockinette heel decreases. And then I did the foot. So that is the pair there, and you can see that I did rewind the cake so that I would have reversed stripes. I just think this colorway is really, really pretty. So these are done. March is done. First quarter is done. I'm looking forward to getting April started and finishing April. Now I will add that Susan did post both in the Ravelry group and on Instagram that she is doing a free pass for 3 months, I think March, April, and May. If you need one of those months, if because of all the craziness that's going on, you don't think you're going to finish one of those months, you can use one free pass. And I'm thankful that she's done that just because of April. I don't know how much knitting time I'm going to have, so it's nice to have that kind of in my back pocket. But I did want to get a good start on April's socks, and hopefully with hospital knitting and stuff like that, it won't be a problem, but I will show you those in a moment. So that is my first finished object, my March Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. And my second finished object is the little sweater that I was working on. So I finished the Little Miss Daisy cardigan. Last episode I showed it to you. I had just been working down the raglan increases, and I was probably a couple of increases away from taking the sleeve stitches off and then continuing on with the body. And I have to say, this was such a fun little pattern. So after you took the stitches off, you basically picked up around the entire body and just knit all this ribbing to get this really pretty circular kind of shawl collar. This is all just knit in one piece. Just rib round and round and round and round and round until you reach the length that the pattern stated. And then it was just a matter of doing the sleeve. So it was just a really fun pattern. There's another pattern of hers that I tend to go to when I'm looking for just a quick little baby knit as gifts and stuff like that. And I think this pattern might be added to kind of that list of just quick, fun baby knits that are easy to whip up, that are fun to knit, and that give you just this really, really cute result. Now the pattern does call for a worsted to Aran weight yarn. I used the same cotton that I used for that little baby bear hat that I showed you last time, which is a sport weight yarn, so I doubled it. So it kind of gave me this thicker, it's probably a little bit thicker than an Aran weight, but yeah, it's just a little bit squishier, it's a little bit cozier. I'm hoping it will just add a little bit of an extra layer for when we start going on outings, but I think it's super, super cute. So I have the hat here, and so I think as a little set, I think it's going to be really, really cute, and I can't wait to get some pictures of it on the baby. I don't think I have anything else to say. I used the needles in the pattern, 5mm needles. I followed the pattern exactly. I found this little shell button in my stash, and I thought it kind of went with it nicely. I think this will go with a lot of whatever outfits we end up using for the baby, because it's just cream and it's really nice and neutral. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and I would do that pattern again. So finally, I think that project actually works for one of the squares on my bingo card, where I want to use a total of 10 patterns. I've divided it into 2 squares, so 5 patterns and 5 patterns. But over the course of the year, I want to use a total of 5 patterns that I already have in my library, and that is one of them. Up until now, I haven't really marked anything off at those boxes, so I think this finally works towards that bingo square. And actually, my March socks finished a bingo square. I got a lot of work on my bingo card this past week, so my March socks finished off the first quarter of the Desert Vista Dyeworks Challenge square. That got finished. This works towards my 10 patterns, and there's something else that I was working on this week that works towards some squares as well. So next, let's go into my works in progress, and I'm going to show you first my new cast on. And I will add that Mr. T has now completely made himself comfortable on my other project, and he's like sleeping, so that might be, we're gonna have to move him, but whatever, we'll get to that when we get to that. So new cast on. I started my April Desert Vista Dye Works socks, and I started these yesterday on the 1st. I wanted to get them going, and I explained last episode that I wanted to see how this other skein knit up, because in the skein it looks so similar. These two skeins of yarn looked so similar even though they're completely different colorways. This is the Sea Zombody and this is Zom Dragon, and I wanted to see how they knit up differently. I'm making this pair for my mom, and the reason I decided to do that is because she has teeny tiny feet, and I figured that would be the best way to potentially finish my April pair in the month. So I kicked it up, I got it started. I've got one repeat done, and they are very similar, but you can see a difference. So this is the start of the sock here, and you can see that the zombie stripes are very similar. The aqua color is very similar. This is not a true black like in the other pair, it's more of a charcoal, and then there is a gray stripe. So just to see the difference there. So it doesn't have the purple stripe. The zombie stripes are slightly different, and instead of being the black stripe, it's more of the charcoal stripe. So it's kind of almost a more muted version of that other colorway. And this one, you can see it more on this side, but this one zombie stripe here does have little pops of purple in it as well. So this is how it is knitting up. I think it's quite pretty. And yeah, the cuff is done. I have started the stockinette on the leg. I'm probably going to do what I've been doing lately, which is I did one repeat for the cuff. I'm going to do another repeat before I start the heel increases, and then I'll do the heel increases, and then it's just a matter of doing the foot. And because she's got about size 5.5 feet, the foot will be hopefully much quicker than my usual socks. So these should be quick if I have the chance to knit on them. As usual, I use 2mm. I pretty much use 2mm on all my sock knitting, especially my Desert Vista Dye Works, because the yarn tends to be 75-25, which is a little bit thinner. So that's how that's going. And now we have the work in progress that I pulled out from the vault. And this is the one that Mr. T has decided has made a really, really nice little mat for him to sleep on. So give me one moment. I am going to have to disturb him to get it out from his tubby little body. So one second. Oh my goodness, was that a struggle. He did not want to get off that project. I finally wrangled it from him, and he is just on the table now cleaning himself. Who knows what other shenanigans he's going to get up to. He was trying to eat my fiber. He's in a mood now. So I'm going to show you the project that I pulled out from my languishing whips, and then we'll get to the spinning that I've been doing. So last episode, I had mentioned that I didn't really have any new projects on my radar that I wanted to cast on, and what I was thinking of doing was pulling out a project from my whips that have just been sitting from last year that I haven't really touched, and working on one of those in the meantime. And I asked you if there was any that you wanted to see, and two of you actually suggested the Cumulus blouse. I had forgotten about that project. When I was thinking about possible projects that I could pull out, that's not one that I had thought of. But you know what? It's the perfect one to be working on right now, because I am on the body. It's just knitting in the round. It's stockinette. It's very easy to just pick up and work on a few rows. And really, I'm getting close to finishing it. I wasn't sure where I was on it, but looking at it, I'm getting close to finishing it. So I didn't put that much into it this week, but still, progress is progress. If you'll remember, this is my Cumulus blouse here. It's just a very, very simple V-neck top-down sweater. I love the color that I am working on it in. And I am just working down the body. So I don't know, where's that little stitch marker? I did move the stitch marker. So here's my stitch marker. I did move it down when I started working on this again. So this is how much work I have done this past week. And yeah, I've just been picking it up here and there, sometimes in the evening, sometimes during the afternoon, and just putting a little bit in here and there. Now, I actually realized when I was working on it that I've got quite a bit of the body done. I didn't realize that I had made put that many inches into the body in general. So I decided it was probably time to figure out how many more inches I had to do. And I knew I wasn't going to just try it on. Right now there's no point in trying anything on. Nothing is going to fit the way it's supposed to fit. So what I ended up doing was I looked through some of the projects that I finished in the last year or two, because I do tend to like to make my sweaters longer, more like a tunic length, so that I can wear them with leggings. So I looked through my project page. I looked for one where I liked where it hit me in the picture, like I liked how it looked, and I decided to measure this sweater against that sweater. And the one that I picked was the Girona top. I think I finished it 2 years ago maybe. I just really like where that hit me, and so I pulled that out of my closet and I laid this down on top just to see how close I was to the length of that top. And I have about 5 more inches left to go. Mr. T has moved on, so hopefully he won't be trouble for the rest of the episode. But yeah, so I figured out I have about 5 inches left on this Cumulus blouse to get to the length that I made the Girona top. I have not decided yet if I'm going to do a high-low hem or if I'm just going to do, I think the pattern calls for kind of a an I-cord bind off. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for the hem yet, but I have about 5 more inches, which isn't so bad. And then I just have to pick up the sleeves and do those. And those again are just round and around and around and around. So I do see an end in sight for this project. I do want the finished project. I think it's going to look really, really nice. I think the color is going to look really nice. I can't wait till I can kind of try it on and see how the fit is going to be. But that's going to have to wait. I think for me, we've got about a week before baby comes, and then obviously a lot of my time is going to be taken up with that. I don't think I'm going to finish 5 inches in a week. So we have time before I get to the point where I need to try it on and see where things are going with the fit and stuff. So, but I've had fun working on that in the meantime. It's the perfect project for right now. And then, yeah, if I finish that this spring, that will actually complete another square on my bingo card, because I have one square that says finish 2 whips from prior to 2020. I've already got one done, and this would be the second one, so that would finish that square, which is awesome. So thank you so much for those people who suggested I bring that project out from the vault. So the final thing that I have to share with you is some spinning. I haven't spun in ages. I can't even tell you the last time I did a spinning project, but I know I haven't touched my reel for sure since the fall of last year, because if you've been watching for a while, you might remember I was having issues with my drive band. It's made out of rubber. Mr. T is obsessed with rubber, and he had chewed through it several times. I had fixed it several times, but it got to the point where I couldn't fix it anymore because it was just taking off too much length. It was getting too weak. So when I went to the Woodstock Fiber Fest in October with a friend of mine, I was able to pick up a new drive band, and I hadn't even put it on. So I know I hadn't spun since at least October, probably a bunch before that as well. But recently I've just had the itch to spin something, and this week I decided to tackle my fiber bins, to go through them. One of the squares on my bingo card is to get my fiber bins, my fiber stash down to 2 bins. So I had previously had everything in 3 bins, and I decided to go through it this week. I sorted everything out. I kept only, if I looked at it and I was just like, I'm just not inspired by you anymore, I have no interest in spinning you, it went into a box. And then I have 2 bins. One is fiber that I'm really, really excited. I love the colors. I love the fiber. I'm just really excited about. The other one is just, it's fiber that I still want to keep, that I'm still interested in, but maybe not as excited as that first bin. But I was able to whittle down my stash to 2 bins, and the rest of it, I have a friend who has a drum carder, and she makes bats. And so the rest of it is going off to her, and she'll be able to have fun making all kinds of different mixes of bats with that stuff. So that was a nice load off of my stash, and I love that I have fiber now that I'm excited to work with. So I decided to pick something from what I had narrowed down to and just spin that. And what I picked is a loop bump. These, I've spun one before. I haven't had the pleasure of having a ton of loop bats in my stash because they are a little bit of a splurge, but I've had this one for years, and I love how easy they are to spin. They're just center pull. You pull out the little bit of fiber and they spin so easily, they draft so easily, and you can just sit there and spin, 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 spin. And then I tend to do a chain ply with them, and you just get some really nice kind of striping gradient yarn. So this is the only loop bat that I currently have, and I decided that this was the type of project that I just wanted to spin. So I've been working on this, and oh my god, Mr. T is back. And I bet you he's going to try and eat the fiber because he's just been like that today. But you know what? Here, I'm done with that project. If you want to go lie on it again, feel free. So this is all I have done so far. You can see that it started with the black, which is kind of underneath, and now I've gone into the pink. It's going to be pink for a while, and then I think it might turn to gray or something. But this is what I have, and it's just been a really, really pleasant spin. I have my spinning wheel over by the couch where I sit, and just if I'm not knitting and I want to do something, I'll just be spinning on the wheel. And I figured out a way to cover the drive band so that Mr. T is not attracted to the rubber and chewing through it again. It just so happens that those those large rectangular flannel baby like burp cloths are the perfect length for my spinning wheel, and I just kind of wrap it around like a little cape, tuck it into the little circle thing at the front that's attached to whatever, I don't know, my brain is blanking on the terminology, but I kind of wrap it around my wheel like a little cape, and it just makes it so that the drive band is covered and he's just not attracted to it. So as long as I make sure to wrap it up when I'm done, I think we will be fine with that. But that's just been another little project that I've been having fun with, and there's actually another braid of fiber that I really, really, really want to start. But it's 6 ounces of fiber, and it's a superwash targhee, and I know I bought it with the intention of making sock yarn with it. So that would be kind of a longer term project because I'd have to spin it quite fine. And to start off, I just didn't want a super fine project. I want something that I could make a little bit thicker. So I'm going to do this one first, and then we might get to that one if the spinning mojo is still there. So that is basically what I've been working on this week. In terms of upcoming projects, I don't think I have any on the radar still. Like I said, I don't want to start any more baby projects until the baby is here, which is getting so close. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to feel, I was feeling really excited for a while, and now I'm both excited and a little bit anxious, especially just with the hospital situation and such. But time does not stop, so it's going to come, time is going to pass, baby's going to come, we're just going to have to deal with everything that surrounds having a baby. And then the other thing is I've been really, really itching to start another blanket, and realistically, I probably shouldn't, but I really want to start another crochet blanket. And I'm thinking either with some worsted weight scraps and then also fingering held double, maybe not a granny stripe blanket, but just a single crochet blanket where I just go through and use a whole bunch of thicker scraps. Or I have this other project, I'm not going to get into the details right now, but I have this project that I started a long time ago, and it was supposed to be a gift for someone, and it's no longer going to work out like that. So I have all this yarn. I don't know if any of you are going to be able to guess which project this was, but I have all this yarn now that it's not going to be what it was supposed to be. And I asked the person if they might be interested in a blanket instead, and they said yes. So I'm also thinking of taking that project, kind of ripping things out and turning the yarn, maybe combining it with something else and making a crochet blanket with that. So that's kind of on my mind right now. I kind of want to start a crochet blanket, but I have my granny stripe blanket that I really want to finish, and I know I have all these other things, and my mind is just all over the place right now. But that, I think, is it for this week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. Hopefully I will get to see you just one last time before baby comes, and then there might be a little bit of a break. But yeah, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.